Hello, everyone. Botond is back. That's Botond right there. I'm Grant Cohn. He had a previous engagement on Monday, but he's back. Always got to find a slot for Botond. And he's now a writer on all 49ers, which is extremely exciting. The first Hungarian 49ers football analyst in the world. So give it up for Botond. Follow him on Twitter. It's late over there in Hungary, though, so we're going to keep this at a brisk pace. Let's get right into it. I was doing a little homework this morning. So let me throw this at you and tell me what you think. Trading into the top five. You know, people say you got to take a quarterback in round one, but top five is a different animal. It's the top five. It's way up there. And since 1990, the only top five picks quarterbacks who've won Super Bowls are Peyton and Eli. That's it. So a lot of these guys aren't exactly going to live up to expectations. Then I took it a step further. What about the guys who were taken top five by teams who traded into that spot? Traded up. So like, the pressure is even higher. It's not just a top five pick. It's multiple first rounders. They mortgaged everything for you. And since 1990, there's six. All right. Jeff George, 1990. Indy traded up to the number one pick. That didn't work out. 2009, Jets traded up for Mark Sanchez. That didn't work out. 2012, Washington traded up for RG3. 16, the Rams traded up for Goff. 16, Eagles traded up for Wentz. 18, Jets traded up for Darnold. Why do you think it's never worked when a team is traded into the top five for a quarterback? Is that just a coincidence? What's up with that?
Well, first of all, hi, everyone. Glad to be back. It's always a pleasure. And thanks a lot to Grant for allowing me to share my first article on all 49ers SI. So, it's kind of a difficult question, because what I think of, we should just connect it with another one. Well, how many of first rounder quarterbacks in the past 20 years became long-term starters for NFL teams?
Yeah, maybe about 25%. Maybe about 25%. Yeah.
But only about 25%. And
Yes.
If we are trying to analyze those quarterbacks for who these teams were traded up, even less of them became regular starters in the NFL. Even less of them became franchise quarterbacks.
Yes.
So what I think right now is, I shared on Twitter about 2 weeks ago that basically right now in the NFL, Kyle and John Lynch just called an all-in before the flop. If we are talking about poker.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they did.
So what I was talking about before this offseason was that I do think that they are on a hot seat, even though they are not talking about that, even though nobody is talking about that. It's just a kind of Jed York politic. I think that he is not talking about that because last season was really disappointing. And after not trying to get Tom Brady, just sticking with Jimmy Garoppolo, who injured again, well, they are on a hot seat. And what I think of that, it was just a panic move.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
They knew those samples from the NFL from the years before even better than we knew that.
Kyle did this in Washington. He's the one who traded up for RG3. It cost him his job. Maybe it wasn't his idea, but he knows the consequences. Yeah. So, I mean, look, tell me, this is my theory here on why it's such a risky thing. I mean, you pointed out, it's just drafting a quarterback in round one is risky on its own. But if you're trading into the top five, that means you found a trade partner who doesn't think the quarterback you're trading up for is that good. That team is there. They're like, you know what? Nah, we don't want him. So you're taking a quarterback that there's like a difference of opinion on. He's not a lock. It's some guy that some people like and some people don't. And that team that's sitting at 1, 2, or 3, in this case, it's the Dolphins. They're like, okay, we could take the third best quarterback here with our third pick, but we don't want to. We don't even like Tua that much. We benched Tua 70 times last year, but we don't want this guy. But the Niners are calling us and they're like, you're wrong. All right. You wouldn't take him with 1/3. We would take him with our next 3 first-round picks plus a third. That's how wrong you are. And so now it's like this little game of chicken where two teams have this way difference of opinion. And usually the team that's more conservative that trades down is right. So the Niners are banking that the Dolphins are like way, 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 way wrong. And they need a quarterback. They know Tua is not that special. If they thought Justin Fields or Trey Lance or Mac Jones was super special, they'd be taking that guy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We have talked about it before that I do think that there's no safe quarterback picks besides of Trevor Lawrence. He is the only one, and I'm pretty sure that he can fail as well. But most of these guys are just boom or bust picks, as I said before.
Yes.
I don't see all of them as a starter in the NFL. I don't know if there will be any of them who will be a starter in the next 3 years.
Yeah. And that's why go ahead.
We just traded 3 years of first-round draft picks for a single year quarterback, and I'm pretty sure that whoever we draft will be just a one-year starter for the 49ers. Mark my words, guys. So you can hate me for this, but I must say that.
When I say like, hey, let's be careful here. Let's look at the odds. Let's look at history and acknowledge that whichever quarterback the Niners choose is probably not going to live up to expectations. Take the player that is a lock to be great. Take Kyle Pitts. People say, yeah, he is the best player. He is better than these quarterbacks. But you can't not take a quarterback. You have to take a quarterback if you trade in the top 5. But I'm saying, like, every time a team is traded into the top 5 for a quarterback, it's never worked out. So why do you have to take a quarterback if you trade? I know the Falcons traded up and took Julio Jones. I mean, they didn't win a Super Bowl, but he's the best Falcon of all time, and he would have won a Super Bowl if Kyle hadn't blown it. So I just don't buy this thing that you have to take a quarterback if you trade into the top 5. I mean, history says that every team that felt that way was wrong. The Niners could be the team that bucks the trend, but I don't see that history says you have to take a quarterback. Maybe history says you shouldn't take a quarterback if you trade the top 5. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and the other thing is that most of the people said that right now in these years, those colleges who are training elite quarterbacks to the NFL are making a way better job. But it was just because Justin Herbert and because of his ability to move with his new team. But to be honest, I do think that part of his greatness is that teams had no tape of him. They couldn't see him in training camps. They couldn't see him during preseason games because there were none of them. And at the end of the season, there were teams who can easily stop him. And it was just because they had the tapes. They knew what they should do to stop him.
Yeah.
And I saw that most of the people says that Kyle Shanahan may find a way to create a playbook for his new quarterback. To be honest, if you are drafting a quarterback to an exact system, there are no systems that may live more than 3 years in the NFL. And if you are building up a system for a single QB who you are trading 3 first-rounders for, then it's kind of a death of a team. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right, let's switch gears. So I'm against them taking a quarterback at number 3. I think it's going to get him fired. But they may, and if they do, I think I know why everyone's saying it's going to be Mac Jones. I really don't think they're going to draft Justin Fields or Trey Lance, even though they're going to both pro days. They're at Justin Fields pro day today. They're going to be at Trey Lance's soon. And both of these kids are trying so hard to impress the 49ers. They're like running the Niners offense and like, see, I can do it. It's like, hey, great kid. But here's what Kyle Shanahan said in 2017. And a lot of people think Shanahan's changing stuff. No. Okay. He didn't want Colin Kaepernick. Someone asked him why. And Kyle goes into depth. He goes into detail all the time. Let me read you this quote from 2017. And then I'm going to tell you why I think it's relevant for today. All right. Let's take us a minute. Here's what he said. I thought with Colin in any quarterback situation, it was where do you want to go with your scheme? Where do you want to go with your roster? I looked at it solely into where I wanted to go with the offensive scheme. I think Colin's had a lot of success in this league, and I think he still can have success, but you've got to commit to a certain type of scheme that gives him the best chance to succeed. I think when we knew we didn't want to fully bring him in as the starter, I thought it was a big commitment to make for a guy that I wasn't sure was going to be the starter, and that's really more what you look at. People say, why don't you just do what a guy is good at when he comes in? Well, the guy is only good if you've been practicing the other 10 guys on that offense too. that's something that makes it very hard when all your quarterbacks need a little bit different scheme to be successful. It doesn't allow your O-line to be consistent at what they're working at and things like that. We've got a chance to get, I don't know what that word is. And then we got, Brian Hoyer, and we got Matt Barkley, ended up getting CJ Beathard, and we're getting Nick Mullins in free agency. We've got a skill set of quarterbacks where I think in order to give them a chance to be successful, our offense is going to be somewhat similar with all of them, and that makes it a little bit easier on the rest of the guys. So what he's saying is, sure, I can work with a mobile quarterback. He did it with RG3, but you've got to commit to it. And you want backups who do the same offense, the same style. So I'm reading that. Okay, fine. Who did the Niners just sign at quarterback?
No one who is mobile.
Nate Sudfeld. Yeah. They just signed Nate Sudfeld. They gave him $250,000 guaranteed. If their plan was to draft Trey Lance or Justin Fields, wouldn't they be bringing in backups who play a similar style as those guys like Marcus Mariota or Tyrod Taylor or anyone who's mobile, anyone other than Nate Sudfeld?
Well, I do think that there will be no mobile quarterback pick from Kyle Shanahan, but it's mainly because the scheme of Kyle builds upon rhythm. We talked about it before. Yeah. And when a quarterback moves out from the pocket, he breaks the rhythm of the offense. And we saw how much this offense can struggle when Jimmy steps out of the pocket, when he could step out of the pocket. And, it didn't look good. That's why I don't think that Kyle will draft a mobile quarterback. Yeah, they have Josh Johnson, and I expected 49ers to give him at least a drive last season because I thought that they signed him just because Kyle wanted to try his system with a mobile quarterback, but they didn't.
Also, Josh Johnson is 35 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, how mobile is he really at this point? He was always he played for Jim Harbaugh. The allure with Josh Johnson is he was always a pro-style quarterback with athleticism. Now he's 35 years old. He has no guaranteed money to stay with it. He's probably not even going to make the team. The only quarterback that is going to be on the team next year, most likely, is Sudfeld. And that guy is a statue. So Shanahan's words, he said it himself. You want quarterbacks with similar skill sets because they're all going to be running the same offense. You can't bring in a new guy and bring in a new offense that no one's been practicing. So if Sudfeld's fits the vision of the 2021 offense, then how does Justin Fields, how does this quote jive with what people think the Niners are going to do and have a mishmash of skill sets in their quarterback room?
But to be honest, if you want to sign a quarterback during the draft who is quite similar to Nate Sudfeld, then maybe you should try to draft Kyle Trask. But Kyle Trask is available at the end of the first round. So I just can't catch up with their thoughts. I just cannot understand Kyle.
This is the only thing that gives me hope for the 49ers is that the signing of Nate Sudfeld indicates they're not going to take a dual threat project at number 3, that they're locked into a more of a traditional pocket passer. If that's the case, then they're just a week or two away from realizing that there are better pocket passers in this draft than Mac Jones. They don't have to take the dude at number 3. They can wait until round 2 and take Kyle Trask. Even Kellen Mond is a pocket passer that people would wish would use his athleticism more. Yes, they don't have to take this guy at number 3. That's all I'm saying. Anyway. All right, let's move on. Don't you hate when you right click when you mean to left click? I hate that. All right. So this has been a really positive show so far. So let's switch gears. What do you think the Niners should be worried about right now?
Their offensive and defensive line.
Okay, why?
Well, we talked about.
Why don't we focus on the offensive line first? Because we're going to talk about the defensive line right after this. Let's start with the offensive line. Why do you think they should be worried about it? How could you say that?
Well, Tomlinson wasn't great last season, and the season before we said that he was okay.
Yeah,
he was better than average.
Mm-hmm.
We have Mike McGlinchey, who will start at right tackle. Okay, we are going to have Trent back, who is a great addition for this team again, but I don't think that he is the leader of this offense. And we have Alex Mack, who is, by the way, I do think that he is a really intelligent guy. He can help the offensive line with the blocking schemes, with reading the defense before the game, before the play starts. But I still don't think that this offensive line can defend a quarterback. I just think that they can do that. Mac wasn't that great last season.
It wasn't. Falcons didn't want to bring him back. They were like, you know what? Good luck.
He will struggle on the strong side, and if the right tackle struggles on the strong side, then you are screwed.
Yeah. Yep. And look, here's the thing. What I keep hearing people say is that, teams don't have a good track record of drafting quarterbacks. Teams that traded up into the top 5 don't have a good track record. But how good were those teams? This Niners team is way better than all those other teams. It's such a good coaching staff and all these weapons, and it's the ideal supporting cast for a quarterback. But I keep coming back to the fact, like, which team led the league in quarterback hits allowed last year? That was the Niners. Which team has a major issue with pass protection? Which team got 2 quarterbacks hurt last year? And when I say that, people come back and like, well, injuries are fluky, and you can't blame that on the offensive line. So what you're saying is it's the quarterback's fault. And if the Niners get a little tougher guy, a little faster guy, he'll protect himself. Like dual threat quarterbacks don't get hurt too. I don't know. I think the Niners. I'm not sure that the Niners are the ideal setup for a young quarterback. It seems like the ideal setup for a young quarterback would be a brick wall of an offensive line the Niners don't have.
Yeah, that's true. I think the struggle will be real next season, and we will just I don't know. I may just jump through the window.
Don't jump through the rainbow. I'm 13,000 miles away. I can't catch you. Hang in there.
After watching the struggle of the offensive line next season, I'm pretty sure that they will struggle at least at the first 4 to 6.
I just don't feel like they've addressed it. I mean, look, Mike McGlinchey could have a bounce back year. All he needs to do is eat a little more and, come back in better shape. He could play better, but that's it. I mean, Alex Mack, 36 years old, he should be better than what they had, but that's it. There's not even like better depth. They need to spend a 2nd or a 3rd round pick on an offensive lineman just in case Alex Mack is what the Falcons think he is. Just in case Mike McGlinchey doesn't bounce back. I mean, where are the contingencies here? There's a lot of like hoping and praying and wishing and thinking and whatnot on that offensive line that makes me nervous. I don't root for the team though.
And I don't see that there are any guys who can step into the roles of these guys. So, wow. Yeah. Chris, how do you know that I'm living on the floor?
Chris is everywhere. You call him East Bay Chris, but really he's East Budapest Chris now. All right. Now let's talk about the D-line, because a lot of people look at the offensive line as like an obvious weakness that might be overly criticized, even though, it gets a lot of criticism. Other people look at the defensive line as basically the strength of the team. And now that Nick Bosa and possibly even D Ford are coming back, that it's going to be back to being the greatest D-line of all time. What do you think?
Wow. First of all, Nick Bosa is doing great. I saw a lot of videos of him doing his training right now. I do think that he is healing fast enough to be ready next season. He's a great guy. He had an ACL year before, and he came back and played high-level football. I do think that he can do that again after those videos. But I have to admit it, that doing just some training on a track field or something like that is not like playing football.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
On a turf, for example.
Agree.
So I'm still concerned a bit, but I do think that would be great. But when this 49ers defensive line was in its greatest shape was when there were 4 guys who were starting. Nick Bosa, Arik Armstead, DeForest Buckner, and D Ford.
That's right.
So what we have seen last season is that Bosa can struggle when there is no other guy on the other side of the field who can generate pressure.
We saw that in 2019 too. He always was at his best when D Ford was on the field. Not to mention DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, and I wrote an article last season in Hungary when I just saw the guys a lot of videos of the 49ers defensive line, why they were so successful. So first of all, there were always other teams were always double teamed DeForest Buckner. They
Yep.
tried the same with D Ford or Nick Bosa.
They did. Yeah.
And after that, there was Arik Armstead, who had the chance because of that to make as many pressure as he could.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, right now I don't see that quality of this defensive line that we had back then. That's why I think that they will struggle. And of course, we lost Robert Saleh, who I think was a huge part of the success.
Yep, I agree. So you don't know what you're going to get from Nick Bosa. I mean, it looks like he's recovering well. You don't know how many snaps they're going to even let him play. And also the thing with Bosa, he's proven that he can come back from serious injuries. My question with him is, how many more will he have? Because he's 23 and he's had 3 like catastrophic injuries. So when's the next one coming? I see that he's a very hard worker and he's very good at rehabilitating. When's the next one coming? So there's that. D Ford, are you ever going to play again? Javon Kinlaw, are you good? Because the season he had last year statistically was worse than any season Solomon Thomas ever had. Is he an impact player? Arik Armstead, were you a 1-year contract year wonder? Kevin Givens had an assault charge. Yeah. Is he coming back? He's a hell of a player. Kentavious Street, I like. DJ Jones, I like. They have good players. Samson Ebukam, I like. But this group might be a long way from what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. 2 years ago, this group was perfect. They had everything a defensive line could have.
Yes.
They had a unique combination of speed and strength with D Ford. They have a fantastic and once-in-a-lifetime ability of pass rush with Nick Bosa. They have had DeForest Buckner, who worked his ass off for this defensive line.
Yes. He's the one who led by example, yes.
For every year since he was with the 49ers. And they had DeForest Buckner, who was a mismatch for any other offensive guards because the guy has the size of a defensive tackle, but he can be as fast as a defensive end. We don't have that killer combination anymore, and I don't think that we could have that in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, I see this defensive line, at least in 2021, with Bosa maybe being on a snap count. If you don't believe me, go back and check him out at Ohio State his freshman year. He tore his ACL in high school, went to Ohio State, and didn't play it. He didn't play a ton in college. They were always very careful with him. The Niners could be careful with Bosa, especially considering he's had 2 torn ACLs and a torn groin muscle. That to me is a guy. It's like I've always compared him to like a race car in the red. Like he's way up in the 7,000-8,000 RPMs and things in the engine are like breaking. You know, it's like you are not. I mean, it's very. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he's a race car in the red. Yeah. Carlos says Kyle's delusional thing in a pocket non-athlete quarterback is the way to go with how O-line played last year. 3rd pick has to be a game changer. Here's the one thing. Kyle says he wants a pocket quarterback. What is the state of the pocket in the NFL right now? You could argue that the pocket has been less safe than it's been in a long time. I mean, defensive linemen, pass rushers are so athletic, and the offensive linemen aren't. Yeah. That's the one thing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Kai wants a guy just because of these facts that you have said before. I'm pretty sure that Kai wants a guy who has a really quick release, who is a quick thinker, and I don't think that
Drew Brees. Drew Brees. Yeah. Good luck,
guy. But there's no Drew Brees.
Good luck.
Draft.
Yeah.
So
if you want Drew Brees, he just retired. Maybe make him an offer he can't refuse. But otherwise, Mac Jones is not going to be Drew Brees. You're better off with 43-year-old Drew Brees than 22-year-old Mac Jones. I'm sorry. But keep looking for that Drew Brees. All right, moving on. The quarterback roller coaster. How do you experience this in Budapest, 13,000 miles away?
Wow. I'm not that arguing type of person, but right now in the 49ers Facebook chat and groups, people are coming up with new names every year, like, every day, and they are just trying to prove themselves that they are right when they are saying that the 49ers should draft Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or Justin Fields or Mac Jones. They said everything that they read online, and they wrote down some things which were controversial about those guys. And I'm just trying to find the truth between these lines, but I'm pretty sure that I couldn't do that until next season starts and until the next few games. But I'm still pretty sure that I wouldn't choose any of those quarterbacks in this NFL draft. So right now, how I feel myself, I do think that it was better when we lost for some weeks last season, because I knew that why we lost those games. But right now, I don't know what is going to happen. But man, it's really tiring.
It's so tiring, right? Every day you wake up, it's like, oh, now it's Justin Fields. Oh, wait, it's Mac Jones again. But it could be Trey Lance.
Yeah.
What if it's Fields, though? It's tiring.
Yeah, it's really tiring because the thing is that everybody chooses one of these guys because he loves a part of that guy. And no matter what you are saying, how you prove yourself that you are telling him the truth, they will just watch through it. They don't see what you try to watch to them, and it's so hard to explain that it's not because I hate the guy. I just want to tell you the truth about him. Because
a lot of people don't really analyze their assumptions about players. They lock in to their opinion and they don't listen. And they basically, it's just a bunch of discussions with people with their fingers in their ears being like, la, 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 la. It's like, okay, man, we'll just see how it works out in 3 years then.
Yeah.
Basically, all right, man, you're locked in. You've tweeted your tweets. If you're wrong, I'm going to pull them up. If I'm wrong, you're going to pull them up. But there's no point. I don't like the arguments either. It's like, you're wrong about Justin Fields. Like, we don't know. We'll find out. There's no reason that you need to do these mental exercises every day to get people to apologize for their projection. Like, we're all projecting. We don't know. You don't know. Yeah. You, anonymous person that I'm talking to who likes Justin Fields more than Botond and you don't know. So why don't you leave us alone? We like Justin Fields as a person. We hope he works out. Heard he's a great kid. I haven't heard anything about him, actually. But
I wish him the best.
I wish him the best. Keith Murphy says, Sean Payton seems to be innovative. Looks like he's going from Drew Brees to Taysom. Do you think Kyle can adapt? Well, Sean's been planning this for like 2, 3, 4 years. This has been a slow transition in New Orleans. It's not like he went from Drew Brees to Justin Fields in 1 year with a total 180 switch. But it's a good point. Maybe I think Kyle and Sean Payton have a lot in common. Kyle looks up to Sean. But I don't.
I still think that Sean Payton is if there's anyone who is more genius than Kyle Shanahan is right now, that's Sean Payton on the offensive side of the ball.
I think that Kyle does a lot of stuff that Sean Payton's been doing the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they, to be fair though, I think they probably steal from each other. I think there's probably a mutual respect, I would say. But I always kind of felt like Peyton's one step ahead. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Pete Ruiz says, I really want them to draft Pitts at 3 and Najee Harris in the 2nd or move back late in the 1st. That's the thing. If the Niners had any confidence in their quarterbacks, Jimmy, Rosen, Sudfeld, whoever, they'd be in a position to surround that guy with an unreal team. They could take Pitts or Sewell and then take Najee Harris and just have the best team. But the Niners are so convinced that their quarterbacks are so bad that they can't do it. And it's kind of interesting. I think they're going to regret passing on some of these Hall of Famers at some point.
Well, Grant, you know what? I do think that we are a part of those thoughts from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. I remember the first one last season. It was the first time when we had spoken in September, if I remember well, when I said that I don't like Jimmy Garoppolo and I don't see how he can be a long-term starter for the 49ers. And after that conversation started, he struggled, and here we are. Nobody can say that Kyle doesn't watch the Cohn Zone.
Here's the thing that kills me too about Niner fans. It's like, you tell them right now, like, hey, Jimmy's a problem, but he's not the worst player. Like, you could surround him with Kyle Pitts and Najee Harris, and he could go really far. Niner fans are like, no, absolutely not. Jimmy's trash. We have to move on. Last year, if you talk to him like, hey, Tom Brady's available and Jimmy's good, he just took the team to the Super Bowl, but Tom Brady's better. Niner fans are like, absolutely not. Jimmy Garoppolo is really good. He's young. Why would you give up on him now? Like, Niner fans have gone a 180 from like, don't even mention moving Jimmy 12 months ago to now there's no other scenario other than moving Jimmy. It's like, don't you guys have any self-awareness? Come on. You've flip-flopped 100% and you don't remember that just last year you were saying Jimmy over Tom Brady. That was last year. Not even 12 months ago. That was like August.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got a little worked up. But it's like, have some self-awareness. You say the Niners have to take a quarterback this year. Like you said the Niners couldn't take Tom Brady last year. So maybe you're wrong. Maybe I'm right. Maybe listen to the guy who wanted Tom Brady last year. Frank says Mac will be blitzed until he shows he can beat it. Jimmy lost confidence and can no longer handle it. More mobile quarterback who can extend plays is needed. Thing about Justin Fields is his biggest problem is handling blitzes. And you could blame Ohio State and say they didn't give him places to throw, but there are games where he did have places to throw and he couldn't find them.
Yeah.
But you're right about that. Every rookie quarterback gets blitzed to oblivion and they got to beat it. All right, 2 more topics. Then I got to let Botond go to sleep because it's 3 a.m. over there or something.
Not really. It's just.
It feels like it's 3 a.m. over there.
It's close to 8 p.m. right now.
Okay. That's my bedtime, so I sympathize. I'm out by 8:30. All right. What are the Niners' real needs now? What are the 49ers' real needs now and in the future? We only talk about quarterbacks since they made this trade up. They are not a quarterback away. They have other needs, especially in the future, considering every signing or almost everyone they made this year was a 1-year deal. So how do you look at the state of this roster?
Wow. What we do need in the future, we have to draft at least a quarterback.
Yeah.
A cornerback.
Corner as well, yep.
Yeah. I do think that we are in the need of a new safety in the next
Agree.
We have to feel
You talking free or strong? Both.
Free and strong.
Both. Yeah.
Free and strong. And of course, we need to have a slot cornerback.
Yep.
In the next few seasons. I think that position is getting even more important in the NFL right now, and they will be more important in the next few years. And there are a lot of holes in the offensive line.
I'm with sniper duels here. I mean, like every place on the offensive line, right guard, left guard, tackle, even center. I mean, Alex Mack might give the Niners a 1 good year, maybe 2 good years, possibly 3. Who knows? He could give him no good years. Center 2, everything except for left tackle. And the problem with left tackle is that guy misses a cool 2-3 games a year too. So, all of it.
Yeah,
all of it.
We have to get a new O-line in the next few seasons, and that's a problem because I don't see how we can get elite players for those positions because in the next 2 years we won't have any of them.
No first-round picks.
No.
Hard to find elite or elite offensive tackles in round 2. It's hard. You can do it, but it's not easy. Yeah. We're talking elite ones.
And before the trade, I wrote to the guys here in Hungary that we are in a closing Super Bowl window.
Yes.
And they asked me why. And after the trade, I wrote that sentence down again. And they asked again why. And I just said them these positional needs that we are going to need in the next few seasons. And they were like, okay, now I understand why you are saying that this Super Bowl window is closing right now.
How would you rank Jimmy and Rosen compared to the quarterbacks available at 3?
Well, when we are talking about Rosen, I'm always a bit confused because I don't think that there is a sample size which enables me to say anything about him because he just hasn't had a great coaching staff who could
or a
team who could train him or things like that. So that's why I just can't rank him. I do think that he has potential, but I'm not sure how much potential he has right now. So it's impossible for me to rank him into that list. But I do think that the only reason why I can't put Jimmy before those guys on the draft right now is that I'm pretty sure that Jimmy lost his confidence and he's injury prone.
Yes.
That's why I must.
That's true. It's hard to really. What is Jimmy? Is he even a quarterback anymore? What is he? The way I look at these is I don't like the quarterbacks in round one other than Trevor Lawrence. My 3 favorite quarterbacks, I've said it for 2 months: Trevor Lawrence, Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask. So would I rank Jimmy and Rosen ahead of the other guys? I wouldn't rank them below them. I mean, I don't trust Zach Wilson. I don't trust Trey Lance. I don't trust Justin Fields. I don't trust Mac Jones. All these guys are lacking reps and experience. They're mostly one-year wonders. I don't trust them. And that's why if the Niners take Mac Jones at 3, are you sure he's better than Josh Rosen? Are you sure he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo? I'm not. So if that's what you're working with, just take a guy in round 2 because there's a significant chance that whoever you take isn't even going to be as good as Josh Rosen. That's the problem. That's the problem. So, and that's the thing, like, it doesn't make sense. The Niners were talking to the Jets, and they're like, well, could we trade for Sam Darnold? And the Jets ended up getting a 2nd-round pick for Darnold next year. So the Niners knew what the cost was, and they were like, nah, that's too expensive for Sam Darnold, the 2nd-round pick. Let's instead trade 3 firsts and a 3rd for Mac Jones, who isn't even better than Sam Darnold. Makes no sense. Makes no freaking sense.
Absolutely no sense for me.
Patrick said 49ers should make a few trades, pick up Pitts, the guy from Northwestern, Horns or Tan, and then Mond. Yeah, you can get back into the top 10. You could trade Bosa, you could trade Kittle. Yeah. They could just own it. Scott says, with Jets taking a look at Fields today, is there a chance they take him at 2 and Wilson falls to us? Yeah, if they were sold on Wilson, why would they even be wasting their time?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that. And I must say that, well, for me, Wilson is a bit like, wow. Suddenly, I can't remember his name. The guy from Cleveland.
Oh, Johnny Manziel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
For me, he's a bit like Johnny Manziel.
Yep. And the thing that scares me about him, 1 good year in college, his tape in 2019 was not special. He has had shoulder surgery on his throwing arm.
Yep.
And it was not a contact injury. Not big. Never really dealt with pressure or scrutiny on the field or off the field. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Everything. All right. Last question, and then I'm going to let you go. Greatest cucumber of last week. Explain the concept and then say what it was.
Wow. I guess first time when we had talked about the cucumber season was because there was some ridiculous news in the NFL. Cucumber season is we're here in Hungary when there were the journalists who couldn't write about politics because there were no parliamentary
happenings,
like that. So they had to find ridiculous stories to entertain other people. So I was thinking about it, and I wanted to talk about the 49ers cucumbers in every 3 or 4 weeks, and it was mainly because of Peter King ridiculous ideas of the 49ers trades.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some great news last week that somebody says that he is pretty sure that Kyle will draft Justin Fields. Somebody else said that he's pretty sure Kyle Shanahan will draft Trey Lance.
Pretty sure.
Other famous American journalists who said that the 49ers will draft
Definitely Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
But the greatest cucumber of last week was East Bay Chris revealed himself.
Oh, yep. That's right. Did you think he was a real person?
Yeah, I was sure.
Me too.
I was sure.
I try to tell people
that, but a lot of people said that he is basically you. But I was pretty sure. I couldn't find a similarity between your styles of writing on Twitter, and that's why
I just took his style. It's all his style. I've shamelessly stolen it. It's terrible. but I don't feel bad about it at all. Sorry, East Bay. But here's the thing. He has a YouTube channel now, and I'm going to be going on his channel tonight at 8. His first show. Everyone check it out. I'll drop the link. Good call. That was a good cucumber last week. I still haven't seen his debut performance with Jesse. I have to catch up now. I got to check it out. All right. All right. Botond, thanks so much for staying up late, as always. Appreciate you. See you next week.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, guys. See you
next week. My pleasure. My pleasure. Great to see you, man. Thanks, everyone.